Hi, today is part 3 of mental wellness and the Word of God. And what I want to talk about today is who God is and who God says He is. Not who man says He is, but who God says He is. And I'm going to describe the character and nature of God in 5 minutes with 2 verses. I know that's kind of funny because we could study this our whole lives and not really know. So, the character. What does character mean? Character is the mental and moral qualities that describe or define an individual. So when we talk about God, what is God's character? Is what is His mental and moral qualities? And then nature is a little different. It's more like inherent features. So nature and character of God are very similar. And so the 2 verses that I'm going to talk about that describe and define God's character and nature, who God is and who God says He is 1 Peter 1:16. It says, "You must be holy, for I am holy." So God is telling us that He is holy. So that is one definition of who God says He is. And then in 2 Corinthians 5:21 it says, "For God made Jesus, who knew no sin, to become sin for us, that we will become the righteousness of God." It's like an exchange, really an exchange of character. So in 2 Corinthians 5:21 it's saying that one of God's characteristics is that He is righteous. So let's define these words, holy and righteous. The word for holy, the Hebrew word, is Qodesh. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but it's the idea of something being set apart. And then the word for righteous is integrity. Something that has integrity means that what a person says and what a person does doesn't change or go in different directions. The person who has integrity will do what they say. Like there's no separation. And let's see, another definition is purity. Correct thinking and correct feeling. I wish I could think correctly and feel correctly about everything in life. Anyway, so righteous is the quality of being honest, undivided, and a behavior showing high moral standards of purity of life, free of contamination. And I love that description. So righteousness is free of contamination and purity. And when I'm looking at the definition of the word, I like to look at its opposites. So if God is pure, it means that He's not unpure. If God is free of contamination, that means that God has no contamination in Him. So, and in this word integrity, if God says in His word, and He does say in His word that He loves us, then that is 100% true. And if God says that He's forgiven us, then that is 100% true. There's not going to be a difference between what He says and what He does. And this word holy means set apart. And what is the opposite of holy? I think the opposite of holy will, of course, unholy or cursed. But sometimes we may feel in our life, we may feel like, I don't fit in this situation. And maybe that's God setting you apart because you are holy. You are His child. He doesn't want you in the contamination of this world. He doesn't want your mind receiving impure thoughts. And of course we do, because we're sinners, and we're going to talk about that in another session. What do I do with my sin? Which, if we know how to handle our sin and our bad behaviors, then that will help our mental wellness. So the reason why I'm describing these definitions about God is because God never thinks an impure thought about you. Isn't that amazing? God never thinks an impure. He has correct thinking and correct feeling about you. Isn't that awesome? And He accepts you because of what Christ did on the cross. He's very loving and forgiving He is not contaminated in his thoughts about you. Let that sink in and really consider, how is that going to help my mental wellness? Well, I'm not going to feel like God hates me. And if I feel like God hates me, I know that that's not true, because God is pure and righteous. Isn't that awesome? All right, that is part 3, and I am looking forward to seeing you again.